echoes of the past. After burying Tammy with the respect and dignity he deserved, Rondu felt a heavy weight of sorrow pressing on his heart. The loss of his master, a figure who had guided and trained him, left an irreplaceable void in his life. As he walked back to his home, his mind was a tempest of emotions. Suddenly, a voice resonated in his head, a voice that had become a familiar companion. "Don't be sad, Rondu. Everything has been preordained. We are but tiny beings in this vast universe. Some things transcend our understanding." Rondu thought back to the figure he had seen running down the mountain, a figure so familiar yet shrouded in mystery. The voice in his mind spoke again, "Let's uncover the truth together. I'll ask you questions that will help you solve this mystery. First, how many people can use the fire dragon fist?" Rondu pondered for a moment before responding, "The only people I know who can use the fire dragon fist are my master and me. Beyond that, I can't recall anyone else." The voice replied, "You've made progress in uncovering the mystery. When you discover who else has mastered the fire dragon fist besides you and your master, you will have your answer. Take your time, Rondu. Your memory is recovering well. Everything will become clear as day." Unmasking the shadows. Day by day, Rondu's memory recovered rapidly. The two personas within him gradually began to merge. Silverback's memories now belonged to Rondu, yet Silverback still lingered deep within his soul. Sometimes, Rondu could feel Silverback's presence, a ghost of his past self guiding him. Determined to uncover who had killed his master, Tammy, Rondu delved deep into his past. A familiar voice echoed in Rondu's mind. "Does the name Suni mean anything to you?" Rondu muttered to himself, "Suni. Ah, I remember. Suni is my master's senior brother. My master once told me about Suni. He was incredibly ambitious, very intelligent, and extremely elusive." The voice continued, "They were both students of your founding master. So, do you think Suni knew how to use the fire dragon fist?" Rondu immediately replied, "Absolutely, he did." The voice pressed on, "Your master's death was caused by an attack with the fire dragon fist. It definitely wasn't you who attacked Tammy. So, who do you think the culprit is?" Rondu's eyes widened in realization. "I understand now. The one who attacked my master was Suni. Before my master died, he muttered Sue. Sue. But couldn't finish. But wait, there's something else." The voice continued, "I know what you're thinking. Who trained the fake Silverback to use the fire dragon fist and fight you?" Rondu responded, "Suni. No one else but him." But no. As he spoke, a chilling revelation dawned on him. His eyes widened with shock. Suni is Eagle. The full weight of the truth settled on Rondu. Suni, his master's brother, had taken on the identity of Eagle, weaving a web of deception that spanned years. This realization was just a small thread in a much larger, more sinister tapestry. Rondu's mind raced, piecing together the fragmented memories and clues. Suni, in his ambition, had not only killed Tammy but had also assumed the identity of Eagle to manipulate the world of gangs from the shadows. The true extent of Suni's, or rather, Eagle's, plans was still unknown, but it was clear that his ambitions were far greater than anyone had imagined. Reflecting on his past encounters with Eagle, Rondu saw the cunning and strategic mind that had always seemed a step ahead. Eagle's desire to create order through chaos now took on a new light. It was a facade, a means to an end for Suni's insatiable thirst for power. Rondu thought back to his training under Tammy. His master had always warned him about the dangers of unchecked ambition and the lengths to which some would go to achieve their goals. Now, he understood the true significance of those lessons. Suni's betrayal was not just personal, it was an affront to everything Tammy had stood for. The voice in Rondu's head, which had guided him through his journey of self-discovery, spoke again, "You see now, don't you? Eagle's grand plan was never about peace. It was about control, about eliminating anyone who could challenge him." Rondu clenched his fists, anger and determination surging through him. "I won't let Suni, or Eagle, continue this charade. He must be stopped. He knew the path ahead would be perilous. Sunni's manipulation had deep roots, and his influence spread far and wide. But Rondu was resolute. Armed with the truth and his mastery of the Fire Dragon Fist, he was ready to confront Sunni and put an end to his schemes. As Rondu prepared for the inevitable confrontation, he reflected on the journey that had brought him here. He had uncovered painful truths, merged with his other self, and found a deeper understanding of his purpose. The memories of Silverback, now part of his own, gave him the strength and insight needed to face his greatest challenge. The voice in his mind offered a final piece of advice: stay true to who you are, Rondu. Use the strength and wisdom of both your past selves. You have the power to end this. With a deep breath, Rondu set out to face Sunni. The sun rose, casting its light on a new day, a day that would see the unveiling of Eagle's true nature and the end of his reign of deceit. Rondu's journey was far from over, but he had taken the first crucial steps. The battle with Sunni would not only determine the fate of the gangs, but also the destiny of Rondu himself. As he prepared to face his greatest challenge, he knew that he carried the strength and wisdom of two lives, united in purpose and resolve. The path ahead was clear, and Rondu was ready to walk it, no matter the cost. Shadows in the night. One night, as Rondu was making his way to the headquarters of the mighty gorilla, he felt a prickling sensation at the back of his neck. It was a feeling he knew all too well, honed from years of combat and survival. Someone was following him. He continued to move forward, his steps steady and unhurried, pretending to be unaware. His senses were heightened, his mind calculating the best way to confront his shadow. The streets were quiet, with only the occasional rustle of leaves or distant bark of a dog breaking the silence. As he walked, Rondu's thoughts raced. Who could it be? An enemy scout? An assassin sent by Eagle? Or perhaps another shadow from his past? He couldn't be sure, but he was determined to find out. The moonlight cast long shadows on the ground, and Rondu used them to his advantage, blending into the darkness as he listened intently. The footsteps behind him were soft, almost imperceptible, but to Rondu's trained ears, they were as loud as thunder. He quickened his pace slightly, leading his pursuer into a narrow alleyway. The alley was lined with high walls, creating a perfect trap. Just as he reached the middle, Rondu spun around, his movements swift and fluid. He dashed toward the source of the footsteps, closing the distance in a matter of seconds. The person following him was caught off guard by Rondu's sudden change of direction. In the dim light, Rondu could make out a figure dressed in dark clothing, trying to blend into the night. With a burst of speed, Rondu reached out, grabbing the figure by the neck and pinning them against the wall. "Who are you?" Rondu demanded, his voice low but firm. "Shadows of the past." Rondu was about to confront the shadowy figure when the man suddenly spoke up, his voice trembling with urgency. "Wait, Rondu. It's me, Cuss. Your old friend. Don't you recognize me?" Rondu stared at the scarred and rugged face before him, a face etched with lines of hardship and suffering. I don't remember," he admitted, confusion evident in his voice. "But the name Cuss, it sounds familiar." The man, Cuss, took a step forward, his eyes pleading. "I'm sorry, Rondu. I'm so sorry for everything. For giving you that letter. They forced me, Rondu. If I hadn't done it, they would have killed my entire family. I had no choice. Please, you have to forgive me." Rondu's mind raced, struggling to piece together fragments of a past he couldn't fully recall. I don't know what you're talking about," he said, frustration mingling with the confusion in his voice. "What letter? Why did they make you do it?" Cuss looked heartbroken, the weight of his actions pressing heavily on him. "They knew about our friendship, Rondu. They used it against us. They knew everything. They threatened my family, and I had to deliver the letter to you. The loss, the pain, it's my fault." Rondu felt a spark of recognition, like a faint whisper in the back of his mind, but the details remained elusive. "Cuss, I can't remember it all. But I can see that you're telling the truth. Who did this to us? Cuss's eyes darkened with a mixture of fear and anger. He's been pulling the strings all along, manipulating us, using us for his own gains. He's the one who orchestrated it all. Scars of betrayal. Rondu's eyes widened with shock as he looked at the scarred man standing before him. The man, Cuss, continued to speak, his voice heavy with the weight of past pain. But who is he? Rondu asked, his voice trembling with a mix of anger and confusion. Cuss took a deep breath, his face contorting with the memory of his suffering. Because I owed you, Rondu. I felt that I had to pay for the betrayal, for the pain I caused you. I took hot coals and pressed them against my face. The pain was unimaginable, a searing agony that burned deep into my flesh, but I needed to ensure that no one would recognize me. I needed to hide my identity to follow the man who threatened me. Rondu's heart ached at the sight of his old friend, now disfigured and burdened with such a heavy past. Heiss? Why would it be him? Rondu interrupted, trying to understand the connection. Yes, Cuss confirmed, his voice steady despite the painful memories. I found out that the man who threatened me worked for Heiss. After disfiguring myself, I infiltrated the mighty gorilla, taking on the role of a servant. I learned everything, Rondu. Heiss orchestrated it all. He forced his henchmen to make me deliver that letter to you. He also bribed one of the hyenas to deliver a letter to Roos. The image of Cuss pressing hot coals against his face played vividly in Rondu's mind. He imagined the searing heat, the smell of burning flesh, the screams of agony as the red-hot coals scorched Cuss's skin. Cuss's face was now a canvas of pain, each scar telling a story of sacrifice and betrayal. Cuss continued, his voice filled with a mix of sorrow and resolve. The pain was unbearable, but I endured it. I needed to protect you, to find out the truth. Every moment of that torment was worth it if it meant uncovering the man who caused us so much pain. I realized that Heiss was the mastermind behind everything. He used his influence and power to manipulate us, to turn us against each other. Rondu clenched his fists, feeling a surge of anger and determination. Heiss. I never suspected him. Why would he do this? What does he gain from all this chaos? Cuss shook his head. I don't have all the answers, but I know that Heiss is dangerous. He's been pulling the strings from the shadows, manipulating events to serve his own agenda. We need to stop him, Rondu. We need to put an end to his schemes. Web of deceit. The scarred man, his face a testament to his suffering, continued to speak, his voice heavy with the weight of betrayal. He wanted you and Roos to meet at the Tootie's restaurant. Two old enemies confronting each other. According to Heiss' calculations, with Roos's aggressive nature, you would end up killing him. When you killed Roos, Boosie would seek revenge for Roos. If you died at Boosie's hands, then all of Heiss' plans would fall apart. If you survived, you would belong to him. You would become his tool for his greater purpose. Rondu stood there, stunned, unable to fully grasp the magnitude of the manipulation he was entangled in. The scarred man, Cuss, continued, I'll reveal another secret to you. Heiss is Eagle. The revelation hit Rondu like a physical blow. Heiss, the man he had come to respect and consider a father figure, was also Eagle, the feared and ruthless leader of the 10 great assassins. The layers of deceit and manipulation were staggering. Rondu's mind raced, trying to piece together the intricate web of Heiss' machinations. Heiss had orchestrated everything with meticulous precision. He knew that by pitting Rondu against Roos, he could exploit the violent history between them. Heiss' understanding of Roos's temperament and Rondu's fighting prowess allowed him to predict the outcome with chilling accuracy. The plan was elegant in its simplicity yet devastating in its potential consequences. Rondu realized that Heiss' true genius lay in his ability to manipulate people like pawns on a chessboard. By engineering the confrontation between Rondu and Roos, Heiss ensured that no matter the outcome, he would win. If Rondu perished, Heiss would rid himself of a potential threat. If Rondu emerged victorious, Boosie would be weakened and more susceptible to Heiss' influence. Cuss's words echoed in Rondu's mind. Heist calculated every move. He wanted you to kill Roos, knowing that it would provoke Boosie into seeking revenge. Heist anticipated that the cycle of violence would either eliminate you or bind you to him through a twisted sense of loyalty and obligation. Your survival was part of his greater scheme to consolidate power and control. Rondu's heart pounded as he grappled with the realization that his life had been manipulated to such an extent. The man he thought he could trust had orchestrated events to serve his own ambitions. Heist's ultimate goal was to create a world of order and control, but his methods were ruthless, leaving destruction and death in their wake. Rondu clenched his fists, a surge of anger and determination rising within him. Heist. Eagle. He played us all. But why? What is his ultimate goal? Rondu felt a profound sense of betrayal, but also a newfound clarity. We need to stop him. We need to expose his true nature and put an end to his schemes. Cuss nodded. Agreed. But we must be careful. Heist is a master manipulator. He will anticipate our moves and counter them. We need to be smarter, more cunning. The journey to confront Heist and dismantle his plans was just beginning. The world of the gangland was about to face a reckoning, and Rondu was ready to fight for the truth. A masked figure. As Cuss finished speaking, a masked figure appeared from afar, sprinting toward Rondu with the speed of a storm. In the dim light of the night, Rondu recognized this man as the same one he had seen descending from the mountain. He was the murderer of Tammy. Cuss was about to reveal another secret of Heist when the masked man delivered a powerful punch to Cuss's back. The attack was so swift that Rondu barely had time to react. He quickly moved Cuss to the side and gathered his internal power to counter another punch from the masked man. Their fists collided, creating a shockwave that shattered the trees on either side of the road. Rondu staggered back a few steps, feeling a tingling sensation in his hand. You must be Sunni, Rondu said, his voice filled with a mix of realization and disbelief. He had never encountered anyone with such formidable internal power before. The masked man remained silent, his eyes cold and determined. Without uttering a word, the masked man prepared to attack again. However, a few passers-by appeared on the road, forcing him to halt his assault and vanish into the darkness. Rondu rushed to Cuss's side, only to find that he had already passed away. The sudden encounter and the loss of Cuss left Rondu with a heavy heart and a sense of urgency. The masked man's attack had been swift and deadly, and Rondu knew that Sunni, or whoever this masked figure truly was, posed a significant threat. Rondu's thoughts raced as he pieced together the events of the night. The masked man's connection to Heist, the murder of Tammy, and Cuss's revelations all pointed to a larger, more sinister plot. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but Rondu was resolute in his quest for justice. The night was dark and filled with uncertainty, but Rondu knew that the dawn would bring new challenges and revelations. With the memory of his fallen comrades and the strength of his convictions, he would continue his journey, determined to bring an end to the shadowy machinations that threatened his world. Shattered illusions. Rondu pondered deeply over Cuss's revelations. The voice in his head began to speak. Start with the letter that Cuss delivered to you. Rondu gradually pieced together the fragments of his past, searching for the truth, a truth he did not wish to uncover. One figure was his father-in-law, a man he revered and who had saved his life. Another was his best friend and also a traitor. Whom should he trust? Rondu continued to contemplate why Heist had known about his relationship with Flora before he lost his memory. This indicated that Heist had been monitoring him for a long time. But what was Heist's purpose? Rondu surmised that Heist intended to manipulate him and steer him down a path that benefited himself. And what about Eagle? Cuss had claimed that Heist was Eagle. According to Silverback's memories, Eagle's appearance was indistinguishable from Heist's. Heist knew all about Rondu's condition, which meant that Eagle did as well. Eagle had exploited Silverback, Rondu's secondary personality, to further his own schemes. The more Rondu thought about it, the clearer the picture became, though it was one he dreaded to see. He remembered the moments when Heist had guided him, the advice that now seemed more like manipulation. It all pointed to a meticulously crafted plan to use Rondu for a larger, more sinister purpose. The voice in his head interrupted his thoughts. Why do you think Heis wanted you and Roos to meet at the Tootie's restaurant? Rondu replied slowly. He knew about my past conflicts with Roos. With Roos's aggressive nature, Heis expected me to kill him. If I had, Boosie would have sought revenge. The voice continued, think about Eagle now. If Cuss is right and Heis is Eagle, then every action Eagle took was part of Heis' strategy. The training, the missions, all to mold Silverback into a weapon. Rondu felt a chill run down his spine. Eagle exploited Silverback's existence, knowing exactly how to manipulate me through my secondary personality. Every move was calculated, every outcome considered. He knew about my condition and used it to his advantage. As Rondu pieced together the fragments of his fractured memory, the full extent of Heis' manipulation became apparent. Heis, who had seemed a savior, was actually the puppeteer behind Eagle, orchestrating events from the shadows. But why? Rondu asked the voice. What is his ultimate goal? The voice replied, power. Control. He sees himself as the one who can bring order to the chaos of the underworld, but his methods are ruthless. He believes that by controlling the strongest, he can reshape the world to his vision. Rondu clenched his fists, feeling a surge of anger and betrayal. I was just a pawn in his game. But not anymore. I will uncover the full extent of his plans and put an end to his manipulation. The voice spoke with a tone of resolution. You are not alone in this, Rondu. Silverback's memories and skills are yours. Use them. Find the truth and reclaim your life. With renewed determination, Rondu set his mind on his next steps. He would need to confront Heis, not just as a father-in-law or a benefactor, but as the orchestrator of his suffering. He would need to be cautious, as Heis' influence was far-reaching and his plans deeply ingrained in the fabric of Rondu's life. As he prepared for the confrontation, Rondu knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with danger and moral dilemmas. But he was resolved to see it through. The illusions of his past were shattered, but in their place, a new clarity emerged. Rondu would find the strength within himself to face the truth and forge his own path forward. The painful realization. Rondu thought about Flora. He remembered that each time he regained part of his memory, Flora would shed tears. Why was that? Was she afraid of losing him once he fully recovered? Perhaps it was more than that. The battles with the gangs that often took place at night were orchestrated by Eagle, meticulously planned according to the division of Rondu's personalities. From 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., Silverback took over. From 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., it was Rondu's turn. As his wife, surely she must have noticed something was wrong? Yet, she never mentioned anything amiss. Rondu's heart sank as he realized that Flora might be involved in Heist's scheme. The thought brought a profound sadness that weighed heavily on his spirit. Flora, the woman he loved, the one who had stood by his side through so much, could be part of a web of deception spun by her own father. Rondu replayed moments in his mind, searching for signs he might have missed. The nights when Flora seemed particularly anxious, the subtle hesitations in her words when he talked about his fragmented memories. Could it be that she was aware of the manipulation all along? Was she complicit in keeping him divided and controlled? The possibility gnawed at him, a painful realization that the life he thought he knew was built on lies. He had always seen Flora as his anchor, his solace in the chaos of his dual existence. But now, doubt crept into his heart. If she had known, if she had been part of this all along, what did that mean for their relationship? For his trust in her? Rondu felt a profound sense of betrayal. Every loving gesture, every comforting word, now tainted by suspicion. Had she ever truly loved him, or was her affection part of the elaborate act orchestrated by Heis? He remembered the way Flora's eyes would well up with tears during his moments of clarity. Those tears, once seen as a sign of her love and concern, now felt like a mask hiding a darker truth. The thought that she might be part of Heist's manipulative plans was almost too much to bear. Rondu's mind was a storm of emotions, anger, sadness, confusion. He felt trapped in a labyrinth of deceit with no clear way out. The woman he loved might be his betrayer, and the life he thought he was living might be a facade. Despite the pain, Rondu knew he had to find the truth. He couldn't let his emotions cloud his judgment. He needed to confront Flora, to uncover her role in all of this, and to understand the extent of Heist's influence over his life. As the realization settled in, Rondu felt a renewed sense of determination. He would uncover the truth, no matter how painful it might be. He owed it to himself, to the person he was before the manipulation began, and to the person he would become once the truth was revealed. With a heavy heart, Rondu prepared for the difficult conversations and confrontations ahead. He needed answers, and he needed to reclaim control over his life. The journey would be fraught with emotional turmoil, but it was a journey he had to undertake. The painful realization was just the beginning of a path toward clarity and truth.